Thanks for dropping in. In this video, I forget that a blank screen is reflective while filming. I wait a long time for my PC to do things. And I make a corrupted video file. At the end of April 2024, 20 years after it began, Canonical released the latest long-term support release of their Linux distribution, Ubuntu 24.04. Long-term support versions are released every 2 years and are supported minimally for 5 years, but actually up to 10 years plus if you opt to make it a pro version. I've used Linux, and in particular Ubuntu, since around 2008, as well as other flavours of Ubuntu such as Xubuntu and Lubuntu, which use lighter desktop managers. So these have been useful for putting on older free computers I'm giving away, when they don't have a Windows license. So, a few videos ago, I got a number of laptops in a bundle. One, a Dell Latitude E6510, was not bad spec'd, and after giving it an SSD and some RAM, it was working fine. The final spec was a first gen i5 M560 at 2.67 GHz, which has 2 cores and 4 threads, 8 GB of RAM and 120 GB SSD, as well as an NVIDIA NVS 3100M graphics card. I'd already listed the laptop on eBay and installed Lubuntu 22.04. Lubuntu is an Ubuntu variant using the lighter LXQT graphics manager, instead of the slightly more featured but heavier GNOME manager that Ubuntu currently uses. Lubuntu was running fine and stable, and I put it on quite simply because that was the distro I had already had downloaded and lying around. So I figured why not put the maybe slightly better recognised Ubuntu on as the latest version as an improved selling point. Oh, how I tempted fate. Although an old laptop from around 2011, the specs exceeded those stated, so off I went. On the Ubuntu.com website, I went to Products, Ubuntu Desktops, and then Download Ubuntu Desktop, and then selected the 24.04 LTS edition, and off it went. Now with my ultra-fast broadband of 2.5 megabit, yeah, the 6GB download is going to take a few hours, so we'll just skip forwards a bit. Originally, when I started using Ubuntu, the ISO file fitted on a CD, so less than 700 megabytes. Then it was a DVD, so less than 4.7 gigabytes, and now at 6GB, the only real option is a USB drive for installation. But given that very few PCs come with an optical drive these days, I guess this is to be expected anyway. Once downloaded, I also grabbed Berliner Etcher, which the Ubuntu site suggested. This is used to create your bootable media. There are other apps that do a similar job, such as Rufus, but I just went with what was suggested. So I plugged in the spare 32GB Kingston USB flash drive, making sure there was nothing on it that I wanted, as the drive will be completely wiped in the process. Selected the newly downloaded Ubuntu image file, and then the Kingston drive. Berliner Etcher usefully recognises your system disks and hides them away, cunningly reducing the chances of a catastrophic error. And then I clicked Flash and let it go. Again, using the magic of technology will speed things up a bit. Once the data is copied, Berliner Etcher then verifies the data, which is nice to see, and then all finished. So I grabbed my newly created bootable flash drive, plugged it into the Dell E6510 laptop, and in my excitement, forgetting about reflections, and mashed F12 to bring up the boot drive options. The function key needed to do this will vary from PC to PC. Once my boot options appeared, I selected the USB drive, selected that I wanted to try or install Ubuntu, and off it went. Speeded up here a bit, of course. Once booted, I selected my language, English. I made the text a bit larger just to aid with the filming aspect. Changed to English UK. Connected to my Wi-Fi. And then selected to install Ubuntu rather than just try it, where it would run from the USB drive and not make any permanent changes to your storage disk. On the next page, I selected for interactive installation, where I'll make the choices as I go along, rather than an automated option, which is for if you are rolling out Ubuntu on numerous computers in, say, a work environment. On this screen, this is asking whether I just want the essential basic apps or the extended selection, so I went with the extended to make the laptop as set up and useful for the next owner as possible. On the next page, I was asked if I wanted to install third-party and proprietary software. While everything included with Ubuntu is open source, some software, such as graphics card drivers, are not, and so therefore need to be downloaded if you wish to use them. So I selected that option, and also selected to install support for additional media formats. Again, the aim being to give the next owner of the laptop the best out-the-box experience possible. Now, I mentioned earlier that I had already installed Ubuntu 22.04 on the laptop, and on this screen it is recognising this and asking whether I want to install Ubuntu 24.04 alongside 22.04, or wipe the drive and have it as the only operating system, which is the option I'm going to choose. There is also the manual option where you can manually select drive partitions, but I'll just wipe the drive and start again from scratch. So on the next screen you select your username and password, as well as whether you want to have to use the password to log in or not. Followed by your location, so in my case I'm in the UK. Then a final review of the options selected and install. And with a bit of a speed up, we get to the reboot screen, where we are asked to remove the installation media, if the camera were in focus, and after the reboot we are given the welcome screen within the Ubuntu GNOME desktop. Up until now, no problems at all, so all was looking good. As GNOME has its own built-in screen capturing app, I set this going as I hunted around this new Ubuntu, only to have the screen completely freeze. It wasn't a completely hard lockup, as for instance the caps lock button still worked, but it did require a hard reset and reboot to sort it out, and this kept happening every few minutes. I did capture some footage between the lockups, showing that as usual with Ubuntu, it comes with Firefox pre-installed as the web browser, as well as Thunderbird email client. In addition to files, there is the Rhythmbox music playing app, as well as the LibreOffice suite, which is an alternative and compatible option to Microsoft Office. There's also the App Center where you can download new apps in both the Deb and Snap formats, followed by the Help and Recycle bin. Down the bottom left is the equivalent of the start bar, showing all the installed available apps, which goes across onto a second page. Going into the settings lets you adjust all the usual, and that is all I could do between the crashing. Needless to say, I went back and reinstalled Ubuntu 22.04 again, and it has been rock solid and running fine since. I'm therefore not sure if this is a 24.04 causing the issue, or the GNOME Desktop Manager, which is being used instead of the LXQT one from Ubuntu. I guess to resolve that, I'd need to download Ubuntu 24.04 and see if I have the same issues. Maybe I'll do that in a bit and leave my results in the comments. Interestingly, I did manage to look at the installed drivers at one point, and no proprietary drivers were installed, so I guess the aged NVS 3100M graphics card is not officially supported, which may explain the screen locks. However, even though the Dell Latitude E6510 is old now, it does still meet the official requirements. Have you tried Ubuntu 24.04 yet? How has it been for you on your PC or laptop? Please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and take care, and I'll see you in the next one.